News View, here for you. Hello and welcome to News View for July 23rd, 2010. Tonight we bring you the top story right now. And the top story is, according to the latest Gallup poll, President Bill Clinton is now more popular than President Barack Obama. That said, it says that 6 in 10 of all adults see President Clinton in a favorable light as compared to 52% of those who say the same of Obama. That's 61%, and 89% are favorable of Clinton, while 86% are favorable of Obama. So President Obama is now not as popular as President Clinton. And in other news tonight, Dateline, I guess New York, the city of Newark, has decided to make so many budget cuts that the mayor has ordered the government there to stop buying toilet paper. The belt tightening plans are said that workers should have a 4-day work week, and they're going to shut down city pools either early or I guess altogether. The pool closures alone would save the town $2,500,000. The police, firefighters, and sanitation workers would not be affected, but city workers are going to get furloughs probably. Now the budget shortfall in that city is $70 million, and they plan to meet the revenue shortfall with budget cuts instead of property tax increases. And that's in Newark, in New York. And the next story is about Congress. Congress, according to a new Gallup poll, Congress ranks dead last out of the 16 institutions rated in government. They are now in 11%. The military is in 76% right now approval. Small businesses, 66% approval. The police, 59%. Church or organized religion is in 48% approval, and the medical system's at 40%. The U.S. Supreme Court, 36%. The presidency, 36% also. The public schools, 34%. criminal justice system for 27%, newspapers 25%, banks 23%, television news is now at 22% approval, organized labor 20%, big business 19%, health maintenance organizations, or HMOs, are at 19%, and that's according to Gallup. But the military is the highest approval rating, but Congress is currently only at an 11% approval rating, that according to the latest Gallup poll. And the next story is BP has been caught once again for, I think, the third time, and the second time this week, at doctoring photos of and around the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, or the oil gusher that was gushing oil into the Gulf of Mexico. The photos that were doctored were caught by the Gawker website and a few Americablog.com also noticed some other doctored photos. One was showing a technical team in front of a large projection screen, but the screen had been enhanced using Photoshop, quote unquote. Now, these seem to have been poorly photoshopped pictures and were easily determined to be as such. And that is from the Washington Post. And the next story, the next story here is Rick Warren, the megachurch pastor and author, was severely burned in the eyes by a toxic poison from a plant, a fire stick plant he was pruning in his yard on Monday. He is expected to fully recover, and he thanks his followers on Twitter for prayers for his eyes. And he was in devastating pain at the time from this fire stick sap. And his new book, The Hope You Need, will come out on November 16th, we think. And in other news, NBC Chicago has information on the Blagojevich trial deliberations, which start Tuesday. Yes, everybody's favorite corrupt governor of Illinois is going to be on trial, continuing with more of the things you'd expect with Blagojevich, I guess. So he'll go to jury Tuesday under Judge James Zagel, and or he was under Judge James Zagel, but information at this time is scarce on what will happen. It's anybody's guess what will happen next to the crazy hair and everything else of Rod Blagojevich. He was accused of trying to sell Senator, now President Obama's Senate seat in Illinois, as you may probably already know. And the next story is about the woman, you've probably heard about this, who worked for the FDA at one time and was ousted by the White House for her racist comments about white people. And the White House has issued an apology, and she's trying to decide what job to take because they offered her a job. And we will see what happens with that. You can get more about that story from the Associated Press and Yahoo News. The next story is the White House is backing a bill to collect employee pay information from businesses. Now this would include, well, this did include a statement by the President Obama, saying that they might pass the Paycheck Fairness Act. The White House said Vice President Biden on Tuesday was the keynote speaker at a middle-class task force event where he told guests invited by that the Obama administration is on the right side of history by passing legislation to ensure women are paid the same as their male counterparts. And Attorney General Eric Holder was there, and he and Biden pledged to crack down on American businesses that discriminate against employees based on sex, race, or country of origin. And this is from cnsnews.com, and we'll go to break number 1, and stay tuned for more news right here on NewsView. Okay, we're back at NewsView here on a Friday night. Now the next story is about what took place in Tolono. A shooting to death at a grocery store, an IGA in Tolono. Sheriff Dan Walsh has said that 42-year-old Brian Maggio of Savoy has been preliminarily charged in the death of his brother, 32-year-old Mark Maggio. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The sheriff says that Maggio was shot to death Wednesday in their grocery store in Tolono after what witnesses say was an argument. Tolono is about 7 miles to the south of Champaign, and a store employee says they had financial difficulties and rumors were circulating recently about the IGA store closing. Brian Maggio doesn't yet have an attorney, but his family has not returned messages seeking comment, and that's out of the Chicago Tribune. And next story is about the Bush tax cuts and the split in the Democratic ranks party of whether or not these tax cuts should be made to expire like they're set to, or whether or not they should be renewed. Senator Levin, Democrat of Michigan, said Wednesday that no decisions have been made when to take up the tax cuts in the House, but he said Senate needs to act first. Republicans hope that the tax cuts become a bigger issue in August when there's a recess and the lawmakers go home to talk with consultants. House Republicans have already begun pointing to the quote-unquote ticking time bomb that will go off at the year's end absent of congregational action. The one-year extension would cost at least $115 billion, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Republicans are pushing Congress to pay for any new spending to avoid an increasing deficit, which is apparent, but they argue that the tax cuts shouldn't be paid for. And that is, of course, from Washington, D.C., as well as Michigan and other places. And in radio news, once again, this story has come up, but this time the deal is all done for WUIL and WDWS and WHMS. They are now, DWS Inc. is now officially owner of WUIL-FM. This station, again, is in Arcova, and the transfer location is just north of Arcova, so South Champaign should be able to get it, or is. And one more story here before we go to a break and weather, or weather and then a break. A murderer in Urbana, Illinois, convicted murderer, has been charged with molesting a 5-year-old girl. David K. Anderson was arraigned in Urbana Thursday on 4 counts of predatory criminal sexual assault and 4 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse. The 53-year-old was arrested at his home in Bonneville Wednesday, and Steve Ziegler, who is the assistant state's attorney, said the girl lived in a mobile home park that he had managed and sometimes stayed overnight in his home. Ziegler said the girl told her mother Anderson had molested her while she was taking a bath. And that about wraps it up for the news portion of this week's show. If you have any news stories or anything else, you can email them to me at mbadger@newsview.info, or you can call the station at 217 is the area code 384-2452. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the rest of the show. Thanks. Good evening and welcome to your NewsView weekend weather forecast for this weekend. A weekend in July 23rd, is it? 23rd. Low Friday night, the temperature will be 72 degrees Fahrenheit and partly cloudy. Saturday, 90 degrees Fahrenheit for your high with winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and a probability of precipitation is at 30%. And the low for Saturday night, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And for Sunday, 85 degrees for the high and sunny. And Sunday night, low temperature 65 degrees Fahrenheit and partly cloudy. This has been your NewsView weather forecast for the weekend.
Planning a home improvement project? Always remember that working near electrical wires or equipment can be dangerous. Keep an eye out for overhead lines when moving ladders or working on your roof. If you need to work near an electric line, Ask your utility to disconnect service wires so you can work nearby safely. For more information, visit safeelectricity.org.